Carol Fay here, putting the EXP expert. This is going to be part 4 of how my mortgage company tried to steal my house. Okay, so we are now into March of 2021. I'm still receiving harassing phone calls from their collection department nonstop. I have now sent proof of payment 2 separate times. Neither one have been processed, and I can get no assistance. The banking commission didn't help me, okay? So to be quite honest, thank God for the pandemic. In March of 2021, the president put the first mortgage moratorium in place, which prohibited any foreclosures. So that put my lender in a position where they could not take my house, and it stopped that process. I don't know what would have happened had the moratorium not been put in place, because again, they sent me an intent to foreclose. I still am answering the calls when the phone rings, because at this point I just don't know what to expect. And on March 5th, to my surprise, I actually get a phone call from a woman identifying herself as a customer care manager. I have notes I'm reading off of. I was like, oh my God, an actual manager returning my call. It's only been 4 months, 5 months at this point that I've been requesting to speak to somebody on a managerial level. Now, I think it's probably been like 2 or 3 months, right? I'm like, hi, it's nice to talk to you. So she tells me she's the customer care manager, and she goes on to tell me that she's been reviewing things. She apologizes it took so long for someone to get back to me, and that she would like to go through the account with me and help me figure out what's going on. So we start going through everything, and let me tell you what her agenda was. Her agenda was that she was going to prove to me that I owed them money. So we start talking about everything, and she does bring to my attention an additional $600 and some odd I wasn't even aware of, that apparently had come over when they purchased my mortgage from the previous company, of unapplied funds of over $600. I don't know why this money was never sent back to me. It completely violated the law in that it was more than 1/6 of the required amount of money that I should have. And don't forget, an escrow account is nothing more than the mortgage company holding money on your behalf to pay out to people on your behalf. Your taxes, your homeowner's insurance, your PMI. It is not an account for them to just willy-nilly keep money in, because that's not how it works. Also keep in mind, your escrow account is separate from your actual mortgage payment. Yes, it is mailed in at the same time, but again, this is your money being managed on your behalf. This is not profit for the bank. They don't get to keep it. They can't just do whatever they want with it. They're supposed to provide full accountings of this money on a yearly basis. They're supposed to make sure they are not over collecting this money, because again, it is simply being collected to pay bills on your behalf in association with the house that you own. So me and this customer care manager start talking. Now, she called me on March 5th. On March 1st, I had sent proof of payment to this lender for the 3rd time. Every single time I sent proof of payment, a clock started ticking. I wasn't aware of this. I am now, because now I understand the mortgage laws. They had a max of 45 days to process that proof of payment and get me a response. Please note, it is April 20th, 2022, which means it's well over 365 days past the first time I sent proof of payment, and that still has not been properly processed. Let me get back on track. So we start going over, I need a refund for the PMI that I've paid. I shouldn't have been paying it. That was your mistake, not mine. I need my credit fixed, because now I have found out that they've been reporting me as late on my mortgage for 2 years on my credit bureau. I need to know how much my actual monthly payment is now that the PMI is taken off. I need the money out of the escrow account refunded to me, and now these unapplied funds also I need refunded to me. So of course, she tells me she has to do some research. I was so overhearing that statement, okay? So we speak again on March 12th. She says to me, oh, you know what happened? You missed this payment when the previous person had your mortgage. I said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Oh, well, we're going to need proof of that. Are you kidding me right now? So she says to me, why don't you just pay it out of your escrow account? I said, because I don't owe you this money. Okay? I don't owe you any of this money. I've made every single payment. The only payment that I personally did not make to the lender was bad advice I got from the bankruptcy attorney, who was like, you should just put this month's payment in your bankruptcy. So I told her that. I said, listen, the only payment that I personally ever paid, blah, blah, blah. She says, we're going to need proof of that. Okay. So Carol has already figured out how to download these bank statements and highlight, right? So I do. I got to provide proof now, right? So 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. I am now providing them all of these bank statements, highlighted in yellow, where their money kept coming out every single month. So now we speak again on March 16th or 17th. It's smudged. And she says, oh, well, you know what happened? The bankruptcy court never paid your payment. So now she has gone from I didn't make the payment to them to I didn't make the payment to the previous lender. And now they're pointing the finger at the bankruptcy court. Okay? Let me tell you how that ended up being very beneficial for me, because that's what put my case being in front of a judge on the fast track. So now I reach back out to the bankruptcy attorney. Okay, it's mid-March, and I reach back out and I'm like, hey, this bank is saying that the mortgage payment in the bankruptcy was never paid. I need proof that that was paid. He emails me the proof, and I send it over to the, in the email that I was told to send it to. And then I call the customer care manager back, because now I have a direct line to her. Okay. Guess who's no longer accepting my calls? That's right. So I left a message on March 19th. I left a message on March 20th. I left a message on March 21st. I left another message on March 22nd. Okay. So I called the bankruptcy attorney back, and I'm like, hey, listen, they're saying that they never got the payment from you. And I start telling him everything that's been going on. And he was like, wait a minute. He's like, you gave them proof of payment and they just never processed it? I'm like, yeah. And then now they're saying, I had to send them all these extra years, and now I got to send them proof that the bankruptcy is made. So he's kind of like, that doesn't sound right. I'm like, oh, don't get me started, bro. This has been insane. Like, nobody will help. Nobody will process anything. Nobody will return my calls. I finally get this lady back, and now she won't even take my calls. Like, it's insane, and I don't know what to do. And the last thing I was told is that the bankruptcy court never made this payment. So what do we do to get them to verify that? So now he starts asking me all the same questions I'm asking the bank. Well, what month did they say you missed? Oh, they can't tell me when they think I missed the payment. He was like, what? I was like, oh, yeah, they have no idea, so I just keep having to provide more proof. And he goes, they can't do that. So now I'm like, well, they said that I had to provide proof that the payment was made. He was like, yeah, you do. He's like, but they have to tell you when the payment was missed. And I was like, well, now they were saying that it was from when the previous mortgage company had my loan. And he's like, it doesn't matter who had it. If a payment was missed, they're responsible to be able to tell you when that payment was missed. I was like, yeah, they can't tell me that. They just keep changing what they're saying. And now they've, pointed the finger at you, saying that the bankruptcy court never made the payment that I made through them. So now the attorney, my bankruptcy attorney, says to me, I'm going to reach out to this lender, and I'm going to tell them that they have to give me a payment history and tell me when this payment was missed. Now I actually feel like, oh my God, there's going to be a resolution, right? Because now there's an attorney involved, and I feel like he has more clout than me, maybe. And so, of course, they're going to provide answers, right? Oh, that's not what happened. Instead, it took months of him fighting with the lender to get a payment history. Okay, it's insane. So the lawyer finally says, "That's it. I'm filing a motion with the judge to have the judge compel them to provide a payment history because they're giving him the same runaround that they're giving me." Meanwhile, while this is going on, okay, I'm still getting collection calls. Okay, so this takes us into June. I'm going to end this video because, again, I don't want these to be too long, all right? But it just gets a little better from here even. If you could believe it, it actually gets better. Like, it's insane what's going on. Here we are. It's April 20th. This bank is under a court order right now, okay, that has to be completed by the 27th of this month, and it's still not completed. Here's what I want to share with you. Anytime you contact your lender and ask for an accounting of your escrow account, they are required to provide it. I highly recommend that you do just that. Call them, tell them you want an accounting of your escrow account. Make sure that you do not have money sitting in an account that could be in your pocket. Because let's face it, we just came out of a pandemic. A lot of people are struggling financially. I don't know about you, but having a couple extra $100 float my way is always helpful, okay? On top of that, again, make sure if you are speaking to anybody at the mortgage company, you are taking notes. You know their name, you know their operator number, you know the date, you know the time, you know what the conversation is about, and you are noting that down on paper, okay? Above that, make sure that everything you get in the mail is kept in chronological date order. What I've learned is if you receive a document in the mail, it is legal, okay? Nothing else trumps anything that you have in mail. Had I not been my mother's daughter, oh, my mom was big on these things, okay? This is what I have that they sent me in the mail. This isn't even all of it. This is just what is still kind of categorized at this moment because everything else is in chronological date order, but it is numbered, again, with the attorney, and that was for reference points for the judge to be able to see, like, where everything was. If I did not have proof, none of this would be going on right now. I would have been required to make this payment. In this process, this lender has lied to everybody, okay, including the court. They told the court no late fee was ever assessed on this account. I said, Your Honor, then why do I have a bill that shows I was being charged $40.13 late fee on a monthly basis? And if you look down here in the corner, Your Honor, it clearly shows a past due balance of late fees. So again, I'm just going to end this here because I don't want to keep going, but make sure if you receive anything in the mail from your lender, you keep it in date chronological order. If anything ever happens, you will need the original because if you don't have it, it didn't happen. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button over there and hit that little bell down there. You'll get notifications because part 5 will be coming soon.